Welcome back to the newsfeed late night. In more international news now, the Electoral College has officially elected Joe Biden as the next president of the United States. The election, which is mainly a formality following elections, saw the most populous state, California, deliver its 55 votes to Biden, pushing him over the 270 threshold needed to win the White House. Joe Biden won a total of 306 votes to Donald Trump's 232. Following the win, the president delivered a speech calling for unity while rebuking Trump's attacks on the legitimacy of his victory. All right, let's unpack this a little bit further now with National Democratic Institute of Southern and East Africa Regional Director, Dr. Keith Jennings. Dr. Keith, good evening and good to have you with us again here on the news feed late night. So the Electoral College has spoken very loudly with 306 votes to 232. This pretty much seals it for President-elect Joe Biden in terms of the constitutional processes in America, is it?
Yes, it does. This is the end of the road at a constitutional level. It's likely, however, that President Trump will continue to deny that he lost the election, and therefore he may not recognize President-elect Biden's victory. Yeah. But the process right now, officially, since all 50 states cast their ballots through their electors, this is normally a process that doesn't even receive a lot of attention. But because it's over now, the last step in the process is January 6th, when the United States Congress will certify the election. And it is possible that some members of the House or Senate will object, and that objection will have to be debated. And so the process still could be slowed some, but it looks like many of the leaders of the Republican Party are coming to grips with the reality that President-elect Biden is going to be the president on January 20th at 12 noon.
I'll come back to the debate on the electoral totals, but let's talk about White House Press Secretary refusing to acknowledge President-elect Joe Biden, while in the same breath, I suppose, one of the highest-ranking Republican leaders, Mitch McConnell, acknowledging Biden will be the next president for the first time. All these quite significant, I suppose, developments.
Yes, McConnell's acknowledgement is much more important than the press secretary. Those people closest to the president, to President Trump, are unfortunately enablers who continue to support his view of reality, which is not real at all. But Mitch McConnell, who's trying to win the majority in the U.S. Senate, knows that there will be an impact in the state of Georgia, where there's 2 Senate runoff elections taking place, if they continue to obstruct. And let me just take this opportunity to say that I'm the former director for the National Democratic Institute.
Now let's then talk about the other developments. Putin congratulating Joe Biden as president. That should certainly signal some kind of move, especially on the international front.
Yes, especially at a time when there are accusations that the Russians hacked a number of agencies, Commerce, Treasury, and others. So relations aren't necessarily at an all-time high. But it is significant because Putin he was one of the few world leaders who had not reached out and congratulated the president-elect.
Yeah. Let's go back then to Jim Jordan's suggestion debating the Electoral College totals. Is that helpful in any way? And is it of particular concern about the potential seriously damaging impact that this could possibly have on the process?
Well, it is already having a damaging impact. Jordan and another 125 Republican Congress people committed a seditious act the other day when they opposed the review of they called for and opposed the Electoral College process, trying to stop it. The fact of the matter is that they know that Biden is the winner. They want to keep this attempted electoral coup going, along with a number of court cases that they have in a number of states, including Georgia. But Jordan represents the types of political leadership on the Republican side, at least, that does not respect the Constitution and quite frankly, in my opinion, doesn't believe in democracy.
Of course, President-elect Joe Biden coming out, really lashing out at Trump's refusal to accept defeat in a more ferocious manner than we've actually seen him do since, I suppose, the day of the voting.
Yes, he was just sending a signal to his Democratic supporters and allies, but also to the Republicans that he's not going to be this weak president who's bending over backwards to try to please the Republicans. And so that speech was very, very significant in saying that he is the president, and it's been confirmed through the Electoral College, and that's why it came just after. And again, in the typical Trump tradition, he announced the resignation of the Attorney General, Barr, who had been one of his partners in crime.
Yeah, that's quite a lot happening in America over a day. Yeah, including that. I was going to mention that resignation of the Attorney General.
To try to take the attention away from the Biden Electoral College victory.
What does this announcement now then mean in terms of the change in things? We know that President-elect Joe Biden is beginning to act more and more presidential, even though he doesn't have legislative power just yet.
We, as you know, are in the midst of one of the worst pandemics the country's ever faced. There's almost 17 million confirmed cases of COVID-19, and more than 300,000 people have already died. There are projections that by next March, it could be as many as 700,000. So while the vaccines are being distributed, it will take time for that to take place. So that's one of the major items on the Biden agenda, and officially, the administration should cooperate with the incoming team so that we can have a smooth process here. Secondly, just the process of transitioning from one team to another, and that hasn't been smooth. But on January 20th at 12 noon, there will be a new president and a new vice president, and all of the political power will shift to them. And hopefully you won't have these white nationalist supporters of Donald Trump trying to engage in violence to oppose that new reality on January 20th.
Dr. Keith Jennings, I appreciate your help tonight. Thank you very much for joining us, the former Southern and East African Regional Director at the National Democratic Institute, Dr. Keith Jennings.